Right now you're watching this video because you're not doing the actual thing you should be doing. Just like Primo has massive dreams in his head. In his mind, he's already achieved everything, but his body is still scrolling. If you're also asking, why can't I start? Today we're going inside Primo's brain because the problem isn't with your willpower. It's about a 200,000-year-old evolutionary bug. Primo dreams big. Primo sees himself successful. He imagines the life he wants so clearly that it almost feels real. But when it comes to actually doing the work, Primo freezes, waits, tells himself tomorrow will be different. And tomorrow comes. And Primo repeats the same thing. And Primo is not alone in this. There are a bunch of people exactly like Primo, ambitious but lazy, full of ideas but stuck in place, and worst of all, Primo knows he's capable of more. He just can't seem to make himself move. That's it. This isn't about being a bad person. This isn't about lacking intelligence or talent. This is about psychology. This is about patterns built over time in Primo's brain. And the good news is, if something was built, it can be changed, but first, Primo needs to understand what's actually happening inside his brain. He needs to see why he's the way he is, and then decide if he's ready to do something about it. Primo wakes up with good intentions. Today is the day. Today he'll finally start. Today he'll work on that project. Today the first step toward his goal will be taken. But then, Primo looks at his phone, scrolls for a few minutes. Those few minutes turn into an hour. Before he knows it, half the day's gone. He tells himself he'll start after lunch. Lunch comes and goes. He feels tired, unmotivated. He tells himself he'll start tomorrow when he has more energy. And the cycle repeats. At night, lying in bed, he feels guilty, disappointed in himself. He knows he wasted another day. He promises himself tomorrow will be different. Plans are made in his head. He feels motivated for a moment. But when tomorrow actually comes, the motivation is gone, and Primo is back to scrolling. This pattern has been going on for months, maybe even years, and Primo is starting to wonder if he'll ever change. Here's what's happening in Primo's brain. Primo's living in a constant state of conflict. One part wants to achieve great things, that part dreams big, sets goals, imagines success, but another part wants to avoid discomfort. That part wants safety, wants ease, wants to protect Primo from failure and rejection and hard work. And right now, the part that wants comfort is winning. Not because Primo is weak, but because Primo's brain is designed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. This is basic human psychology. When Primo thinks about working on his goals, his brain perceives this as a threat. It sees effort, it sees uncertainty, it sees the possibility of failure, and Primo's brain doesn't like any of those things. So it offers Primo an easier option. Scroll on your phone, watch videos, play games, do something that feels good right now. Primo's brain rewards him with a hit of dopamine. He feels a little better. The discomfort goes away, and Primo's brain learns that avoiding his goals makes him feel good. So it keeps encouraging him to avoid. This isn't laziness. This is survival mode. Primo's brain thinks it's protecting him. But here's the problem. While Primo's brain is protecting him from short-term discomfort, it's also taking away his long-term happiness. Every day he avoids his goals, he's building a habit of avoidance. Every day he chooses comfort over action. He's teaching his brain that his dreams don't matter, and every night lying in bed hating himself, he's reinforcing the belief that he's not good enough. He's creating a cycle that gets harder to break the longer it goes on. Let's talk about what Primo is probably thinking right now. Primo thinks he's not disciplined enough, thinks successful people have some special ability he doesn't have, thinks if he just had more motivation, everything would change. But that's not how it works. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings come and go. You can't build a life on motivation. You need something stronger. You need structure. You need systems. You need to understand that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one small decision at a time. Here's another thing you're probably dealing with. Perfectionism. You have such a clear vision of what success looks like that anything less feels like failure. So you wait. You wait until you have a perfect plan. You wait until you feel ready. You wait until conditions are ideal. But perfect never comes. Ready never comes. Ideal never comes. And while Primo waits, life flows by. Perfectionism isn't about having high standards. Perfectionism is fear disguised as excellence. It's Primo's brain giving him an excuse to never start. Because if you never start, you can never fail. right? Let's be honest with Primo about something. Primo is afraid. He's afraid that if he actually tries and it doesn't work out, he'll have to face the truth that maybe he's not as special as he thought. Maybe his ideas aren't as good as they seemed. Maybe he's not capable of the things he dreams about. This fear is paralyzing. It's easier to stay in the fantasy. It's easier to keep dreaming and planning and imagining without ever trying, because as long as you don't try, you can still believe that you could succeed if you wanted to, but deep down, Primo knows that belief is hollow. Here's what Primo needs to understand: failure is not the opposite of success, inaction is the opposite of success. When you fail, you learn something. When you do nothing, you learn nothing. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than Primo has even tried. The difference is they kept moving, they took imperfect action, they started before they felt ready. They built momentum through consistency, not through motivation, and that's what Primo needs to do. Stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating momentum with the moment you have right now. So, how do you actually break this cycle? How do you go from being someone who dreams to someone who does? It starts with accepting a hard truth. You're not going to feel like doing it. You're probably never going to wake up bursting with energy and excitement to work on hard things. That's not how the brain works. You're going to have to do it anyway. You're going to have to take action even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because every time you take action despite the resistance, Primo is rewiring his brain, teaching it that discomfort isn't dangerous, building the muscle of discipline. Start small. Seriously, don't try to change your entire life overnight. That's your perfectionism talking again. Pick one thing, one small thing that moves you toward your goal. Maybe working for 15 minutes, maybe writing one paragraph, maybe making one phone call. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that you do it, and then you do it again tomorrow and the day after that. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent, because consistency builds habits and habits build lives. Here's the secret nobody tells you: discipline feels terrible at first. Primo's brain will fight you. It'll give you every excuse in the book. It'll tell you that you're tired, that you deserve a break, that you can start tomorrow. And you're going to have to ignore all of that. You're going to have to sit down and do the work, even when every part of you wants to run away. But here's what happens after you do that a few times: it gets easier, not easy, but easier. Primo's brain starts to realize that the discomfort isn't going to kill him. It starts to adapt, and eventually, the resistance gets quieter. You also need to change your environment. Your environment is controlling you more than you realize. If your phone is next to you, you're going to check it. If your workspace is messy, you're going to feel scattered. If you're surrounded by distractions, you're going to get distracted. This isn't a willpower problem. This is a design problem. Successful people don't have more willpower than Primo. They have better systems. They remove temptations. They create spaces that make it easy to focus. They set up their lives so that the default action is the productive action. Turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, clean your desk, set a specific time every day for focused work, and protect that time like it's sacred. Tell people not to disturb you. Close unnecessary tabs. Remove everything that's not essential. Make it harder to be distracted than it is to focus. Your future self will thank you for this, because every time you remove a distraction, you're removing a decision, and every decision you don't have to make is energy you can put toward your actual goals. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear. You need to stop consuming so much content. You're probably watching videos about success, reading articles about productivity, listening to podcasts about motivation, and all of that feels like progress, but it's not. This is another avoidance pattern. This is Primo's brain tricking him into thinking that learning is the same as doing. You don't need more information. You already know what you need to do. You need to stop learning and start executing. Close this video after it ends and go do one thing that moves you forward. Just one thing. Here's another hard truth. You need to accept that you're going to produce bad work at first. Your first attempt at anything is going to be terrible. This is normal. This is part of the process. Every expert was once a beginner. Every masterpiece started as a rough draft. You're not going to create something amazing on your first try. And that's okay. You're not trying to be great right now. You're trying to start. You're trying to build the habit of showing up. Quality comes later. Consistency comes first. You're going to feel resistance. You're going to want to quit. You're going to have days where you fall back into old patterns, and that's okay. Progress is not a straight line. You're going to mess up. You're going to skip days. You're going to fail. But people who succeed don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. They don't let one mistake become an excuse to give up. They acknowledge the setback and they get back on track. That's the secret. Just keep coming back. Also, stop beating yourself up. Guilt can't motivate you. Shame won't make you better. Every time you lie in bed hating yourself for wasting another day, you're making the problem worse. Instead, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. You messed up today? Okay, tomorrow's a new day. Forgiveness isn't about letting yourself off the hook. Forgiveness is about giving yourself permission to try again without carrying the weight of past failures. Here's what Primo needs to remember. You're not lazy. Laziness isn't who you are. Laziness is what you've been doing. And there's a difference. Who you are is someone with dreams, with potential, with the ability to change. What you've been doing is avoiding discomfort because Primo's brain hasn't learned yet that discomfort leads to growth. Stop watching videos about change and start changing. Stop planning your life and start living it. Stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Take one small step today because that one small step is going to teach Primo's brain that you're serious this time. And if you take another small step tomorrow, that momentum will grow. And before you know it, you won't recognize the person you used to be. You've spent so much time imagining the life you want. Now it's time to build it. Not someday, not when you feel ready, now. You just need to start and then keep going. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one small action at a time. This is how our lives change. This is how our dreams become real through small, consistent choices that add up over time. You're capable of so much more than you've shown yourself, but nobody's going to do this for you. Nobody's going to save you from yourself. You're the only one who can break this cycle. You're not broken. You're not hopeless. You're just stuck in a pattern. And patterns can be changed. It won't be simple. It won't be comfortable, but it will be worth it. Because on the other side of this struggle is the version of you that you've always wanted to be. Not just Primo who dreams, but Primo who does. Go be that person starting right now.